Good evening. This is Mordenheim. I'm the mod for this YouTube channel. Uh, I decided today that I'm going to try something a little different, seeing as how we're getting on towards Halloween. I may do this a few times between now and the holiday. I thought I might share one of the stories that I heard while growing up and really enjoyed. Kind of a scary tale around Halloween, something that was normally told around the campfires. Kind of an art that's been lost over the years, and it's really a shame. Thankfully, there are other people trying to carry on the tradition, like Mr. Creepypasta and others. Hopefully, they'll keep it going. But without further ado, Mary Culhaine and the Dead Man. Mary Culhaine lived in a rundown shack with her father. She was the oldest of 6 children, and they were poor. Dirt poor, you might say, for her father earned a living by digging graves in the graveyard at the far edge of town. One day her father came home, tired, and plopped himself down in his nearest chair, and she heard him yell out, "I can't believe it. I left my blackthorn walking stick back by the tree. The only thing your grandfather left to me, and it'll probably be gone by morning." Mary Culhaine ran to get her shawl. "I'll get it for you, father." And before anyone could stop her, she was out the door and down the road. Indeed, it was dark before she reached the graveyard. A big moon was just on the horizon as she entered the cemetery gate. She'd been here many times before, and graveyards didn't scare her. She walked carefully around the graves, for she'd been taught from time she was very young not to walk over them, as it was bad luck. She picked her way around the graves until she saw the walking stick laying against an old oak tree. Her father must have stopped there to have his lunch and forgotten it. And she noticed that it was sitting next to a new dug grave that hadn't been filled in. Just as she reached over and took the walking stick and was preparing to leave, she heard a voice come out of that grave. "Leave the blackthorn, Mary Culhaine, and help me out of this hole." Well, Mary froze. She'd never heard anything like that before. "Help me out of this hole." Frightened but unable to stop herself, she dropped the blackthorn walking stick to the ground and crawled to the edge of the grave. But just as she got to the edge, as fast as a flash, she felt something crawl onto her back and a voice whisper in her ear, "Ah, Mary Culhaine, I've been waiting for you. Now you must take me to town to get something to eat, for I hunger and thirst." Mary knew this was an evil creature. She could tell by the clawed fingers hooked in her hair and its terrible breath on the back of her neck. But Mary still had no will of her own. She was helpless to do only as the evil creature bade her. She reached up to the top of the gravestone and pulled herself up. "Walk on, Mary Culhaine." And Mary Culhaine walked on. She walked into the village and came to the main road where the first house appeared. "Ah, we can't go in here. I smell the stench of holy water. So Mary continued down the road to the second house. And again the dead man said, "Ah! We can't go in here. I smell the smell of holy water. Walk on, Mary Culhaine." And again Mary Culhaine walked on. Finally they reached the third house, which belonged to a friend of the family. "Ah! There is no holy water here. Take me inside and bring me something to eat and drink. Quickly, Mary Culhaine. I don't have much time." Mary set the creature down in a chair and searched all about the kitchen. And finally she returned and said, I'm sorry. All that I can find is some oatmeal and dirty water." And the creature flew into a rage. "Ah, Mary Culhaine, I'll teach these people not to leave me anything. Let me on your back and take me up those stairs." Mary was screaming inside her head, doing everything she could to stop herself, because she knew this family, and she knew that the three boys were her classmates slept upstairs. But she was powerless under the weight of this creature's spell. She slowly made her way to the top of the stairs, and there in the moonlight she could barely make out the figures of the three boys fast asleep in their beds. The creature slid off her back and went over to each boy. He took out a sharp blade and slit each boy's finger, catching the drips in a dish. And with the first drop of blood, their breathing stopped. With the second, their hearts stopped beating. And with the third drop of blood, they were cold and lifeless as the corpse itself. Then he took the dish and he climbed back on Mary's back. "Now take me back down to the kitchen, Mary, so we may feast." Mary sadly walked down the stairs and into the kitchen. The creature slid off Mary's back and onto a chair. He took the oatmeal and poured it into 2 bowls. Then he took that dish of blood and began to pour it over both of the bowls. When he finished, he gave 1 bowl to Mary and said, "Now eat this," and proceeded to gobble down his own. Seeing that the dead man was distracted, Mary saw her chance. She quickly, spoonful by spoonful, put the bloody oatmeal into the neckerchief she wore around her neck. She'd just finished when the creature put down his bowl. "Ah, Mary Culhaine, I see you're done. Now clean up this place so no one will know we were here." Mary gathered the bowls and spoons and washed them, but fearing that the creature would smell that blood and oatmeal around her neck, when she placed the bowls into the cupboard, she put the kerchief inside the cabinet with them. "Now take me back where you found me." And she turned to go back down the hallway. "No, Mary Culhaine. We cannot leave by the way we came. For it's that way with all evil creatures. They must return by a different path." So Mary turned around and went out the back door. She was ready to walk down the steps when the creature laughed. Ah, Mary Culhaine, tell me what you see. Mary looked out on the horizon. I just see the field that they call the Haunted Hills. Do you know why, Mary Culhaine? Because buried in that middle hill lies gold. All the gold that the evil ones have gathered over the many years. But no one knows of it except the dead. Now Mary began to get frightened, because now she knew of the gold. And on through the night they went, the creature laughing, taunting, telling her stories, evil stories that no one wants to hear. The moon set in the western sky, throwing the sky into pitch black. Finally, as they started to approach the cemetery by the back road, the rooster crowed. Ah, Mary Culhaine, that was nothing but a dog barking. Walk on. And Mary Culhaine walked on. A few moments later, she heard the rooster again. And Mary Culhaine stopped and listened. Ah, it's nothing but the bleating of a sheep wanting for its mother. Now hurry on, Mary Culhaine. Mary Culhaine walked on. And finally she reached the edge of that new dug grave where the blackthorn walking stick was lying on the ground. Ah, Mary Culhaine, now you'll join me in the grave. And that creature climbed down into the hole and started dragging her into the grave when the rooster crowed a third time. And that creature fell back. Oh, Mary Culhaine, if I had known, I wouldn't have had you in the grave before the rooster crowed 3 times. I never would have told you of the gold. And the creature fell back, dead once more. And Mary Culhaine grabbed her father's blackthorn walking stick and raced back home. Once there, she threw herself onto her bed and fell into a deep sleep. After a few hours, her mother ran into her room. Mary, Mary, wake up! Something terrible has happened in town. Mary, please wake up! Mary stirred, and her mother could see that her hair was matted and tangled, and dark circles smudged her eyes. Her dress was dirty and stained. She backed out of the room. Mary, get some sleep, but meet us at your friend's house, the one with the 3 boys. Mary again fell into a deep sleep, but this time it was full of dreams. Dreams of an evil creature, the boys, the knife, the blood. Then she suddenly awoke and realized it wasn't a dream. It had happened. But then she remembered something else. When she was walking back to the graveyard, and this creature was telling all these horrible stories, she asked it if there wasn't some way that those boys could have lived. And the creature had just laughed. Ah, Mary Culhaine, there is none, for we had eaten it. After all, there's always a way. You see, if any of that blood and oatmeal were placed into those boys' mouths, they'd be alive and never known of their deaths. She got herself bathed and put on a fresh dress and headed toward town. When she got to the boys' home, she could see that the entire village was trying to console the desolate parents. She went up to the father and said, "Please, please let me inside." "No, Mary, I can't do that. What is upstairs in that bedroom is not fit for a young lass to see." "But you don't understand. I think I know a way to save their lives. I beg you." "Ah, Mary, if you could save my 3 sons, I would give you anything, anything in my power to give. I ask nothing. Just let me go in alone." The father cleared the house and Mary entered. She walked down the darkened hallway to the kitchen. She opened the cabinet and right there was the neckerchief, right where she left it. She grabbed the spoon and went up those stairs, and she saw the lifeless forms of those 3 boys. And she went over and put the spoon gently to their lips, and with the first bite, the boys began to breathe, and with the second, their hearts started to beat, and with the third, the color and vitality flushed back to their faces. And what joy there was when Mary walked outside, and behind her the 3 boys stood alive and well. For 3 days and 3 nights there was a celebration like none before. And on the third night the father came to Mary and said, "Mary, you have made me the happiest man ever to live. You gave me back my boys from death. And Mary, I want to give you something, anything, name it, please, Mary, just tell me." "Well," said Mary, "would you deed me that land behind your house, the one with the 3 hills?" "I'd give you that and much more." So right there they wrote up a contract. When Mary became of age, she married the oldest of those 3 boys, and don't you know, they built the foundation of their house between 2 of those hills, and when they dug down, they found gold. Gold and silver and jewels. There was enough that Mary Culhaine was a rich woman, and her father never had to pick up a shovel again. And even though the events of that night slowly faded away like a bad dream, there were 2 things Mary Culhaine never forgot. That was to keep holy water at the front door, and to never again fix oatmeal. Mary Culhaine. Well, I certainly hope you enjoyed the story, and thank you very much for listening. If you did enjoy it, just leave a like at the bottom so I know, and if everyone likes it, I may do another 1 or 2 of these before Halloween comes around. Until next time, thank you very much. Good night.